Jai Hind, everyone. The former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been living in India for almost 2 years of now. So she came to India in August 2024 after her government was removed by weeks of anti-government demonstration which were linked to the Islamist forces in Bangladesh. She had exited from Bangladesh on the recommendation of the Chief of the Army Staff of the Bangladesh Army. And since then, she has been living in India. During her stay in India, she has also requested asylum from various countries, but no country has responded positively. Since then, she has been part of India and she has been safeguarded by India. But recently, the Bangladeshi Prime Minister has made a statement and she has announced her plans to return from exile in India around December back to Bangladesh. Now, she has stated that she, along with the senior leaders of the banned political party Awami League, will come back and surrender to the courts by the year end, that is by December 2026. And despite acknowledging the threats to her life, Sheikh Hasina says that she is determined to return. Bangladeshi Prime Minister has been awarded with a death sentence by a tribunal in Bangladesh, and still the order is being upheld. Now, the Bangladeshi International Crimes Tribunal sentenced her to death in absentia for her alleged involvement in the crackdown in 2024 against the student led protest. Even though Sheikh Hasina had rejected the allegations then, but the surprise announcement that is made by Sheikh Hasina is something that should be seen as a matter of concern. Now, the bigger question arises, will India send Sheikh Hasina back? Few of the political analysts they believe that with the rising situation in Bangladesh or the rising dominance of China in Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina is the only thing over which India can leverage. But the Indian government, through the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, have called it a legal matter. India knows that they cannot make a mistake. This is not a courtroom drama. This is now becoming a geopolitical chess match where the loser could be India's influence in the entire South Asian region. With the recent defense deals and with the recent visit of the Bangladeshi Prime Minister Tariq Rahman to China, it is now very obvious that China will gain dominance in the region of Bangladesh. Moreover, Bangladesh will also slowly turn into an economic slave of China. So, what are the implications of this announcement? What effectively might be India's stand? Should India send her back? And what all are the pros and cons of this? So, in this session, we will discuss all of these things, and by the end, you will understand why India is walking a diplomatic tightrope where even a perfect decision might come with a terrible cost against India's position in the entire South Asian region. Now, starting off with this discussion, first and foremost, the crisis from ally to a fugitive. Now, Sheikh Hasina, daughter of Bangabandhu, the longest serving prime minister and India's most reliable ally. Now, student protests had started over 30% job quotas in July 2024 for war veterans. The youth employment was over 40%. Now, there was brutal crackdown. Hundreds of protesters were killed, and protests gradually moved into the anti-Sheikh Hasina uprising that took place in the entire country. Now, on August 5, 2024, she flees to India in a military aircraft upon the recommendations of the army chief of Bangladesh. Okay. Moreover, it was the Bangladeshi military that facilitated her escape or her evacuation to India. Now, in November 2025, she was sentenced to death in absentia for crimes against humanity by the International Crimes Tribunal that was essentially established by Sheikh Hasina herself. Okay, so this is the irony. Sheikh Hasina herself has revived this tribunal in 2010 to punish war criminals. Now, she called it a justice. Now, it has become what experts call a Frankenstein's monster. Now, this is something that she was the one who had revived, she was the one who had created, and now this is something that is biting her back. Okay. The protest did not just start over the jobs, they started over a system where the former leaders, okay, the war record mattered more than the merit they were holding. Okay. Moreover, we should not forget that this is the same family whose efforts had finally culminated into the creation of Bangladesh. Moving ahead, what are the latest developments? Okay, now in this situation, Sheikh Hasina has announced plans to return to Bangladesh by December 2026. Now, she has categorically said uh, that if death comes, she wants it on her own soil. Okay, so this is the exact statement she has made while speaking to a during an interview. Now, India, through its Ministry of External Affairs, have made it very clear that there is no change in approach. The extradition is a legal issue. Okay, as it has been quoted by Randhir Jayaswal, who has been the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs. Now, the Bangladesh stance, the advisor Zahid, advisor to the Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, says that we welcome her. She must face justice and let her bring the best lawyers. Okay. Now, there have been various conspiracy theories that are also floating. Few people call that the entire coup in Bangladesh was engineered by US or China to weaken India. Even though the geopolitical rivalry exists, but the protest started organically, but there was some intervention or some malpractices, malplay by US and China that cannot be ignored. Okay. Now, there were various things that were said that Hasina had sold out Bangladesh to India. Now, it was Hasina was, even though she was very much inclined towards India, but she had to balance India and China. But she heavily leaned towards Delhi. Now, this is something that went against her. Now, few people say that India is hiding a secret deal. Okay. By and large, India is not hiding a secret deal. India may be just buying the time. They know that this in this current scenario, Bangladesh is not exactly an Indian ally. So conspiracy theories are great, majorly for social media, but they are distracted from the real crisis. Okay, the real crisis in Bangladesh is the governance failure. However, the Chinese card is very real, but Bangladesh is openly now inclined towards China. If India mishandles this situation, India might lose its gateway to the northeast as well as to the Bay of Bengal, which has always been threatened previously by China, but now Bangladesh becoming an ally of China, this is something that India should be concerned of. Okay. Next, if we can also see the legal framework. Okay. The issue is, can India refuse? Now, the 2013 extradition treaty, Article 6 says India can refuse if the offense is political. Article 8 says India can refuse if the request is unjust or oppressive or not made in good faith. Article 10 says extradition for a convicted person is valid only if they cannot challenge the conviction. Okay, so Sheikh Hasina can still appeal. So the bigger question is that will India send her? Despite knowing that she might be killed as soon as she reaches Bangladesh. So legally, India has a backdoor. Okay, this treaty is not a handcuff. Okay, or it is something that is not compulsory binding upon India. India can simply say that trial may be a political witch hunt and Sheikh Hasina has not exhausted her appeals. But legally, winning is not the issue. The issue here is completely political fallout. Is India in a position wherein India can betray a friend of 15 years, or is India willing to violate the treaty? Now, this is the bigger question that is coming before India. Now, what all are the implications? Now, if we talk about these implications, these are essentially the ticking bombs. Okay. First and foremost, Sheikh Hasina has kept anti-India insurgents, Ulfa and the FB in check. Without her, militant safe havens could re-emerge and borders could get restive. Okay. Now, uh, while Sheikh Hasina was in power in Bangladesh, India had lesser reasons to be worried. Okay, even though India was not very confident upon Sheikh Hasina, but still India worried less. But after Sheikh Hasina's fallout, the points of concern have been gradually rising with every single day. Next is the economic. Bangladesh is India's largest trade partner in South Asia. Transit routes to Northeast are at risk. Diplomatic. The new government is tilted towards China. India has sent political appointee as High Commissioner to fix ties, but the trust is very low. On the domestic front, both the BJP and the Congress, they view Sheikh Hasina as a friend, and turning her over could cause a domestic political storm. So this is something which is a greater point of concern. Now, India cannot imagine losing their biggest trade partner. Bangladesh is currently acting as a security buffer, and India also holds moral high ground in a single decision. Now, for India, this is something which is reality. But if it gets worse, if India keeps her, Bangladesh may just keep dialing, keep approaching China, which is again a point of concern for India. So India has to walk a very tightrope in this case. Now, what all are the possible equations that we have to see? What are the pros and cons? What is the possible and impossible equation that might be before India? Now, if India sends her back, now this repairs their ties with Dhaka and shows rule of law. It would remove all the bilateral irritant. Now, this is something that is expected. Cons: the death penalty for an ally. This betrays trust, sets precedent for political asylum seekers. Okay. Now, if India refuses or protects her, now India protects a loyal ally, but it sends a message that India stands by friends and maintains regional leverage. Cons are: it would strain the bilateral ties further, it will fuel anti-India sentiments in Bangladesh, and Dhaka may deepen their ties with China that they are already doing so. Okay. So if we have to understand this situation, we have to think it this way. Okay. If we extradite her, we would be able to uphold the law, but we would end up losing our honor. If we refuse to extradite her, okay, then this is something that we uphold our honor, but we lose the law. Now, India is currently choosing the third option. Okay, India is planning to delay, deflect, and hope that she changes her mind. Okay, so India does not want to be in the forefront. India does not want to be the front decision maker, but India would want to leave everything upon Sheikh Hasina. So, in this situation, we can greatly understand that what all are the future scenarios that must be looked upon. First and foremost, Sheikh Hasina goes back on her own in December 2026. She gets arrested. India breathes a sigh of relief. No decision made. Prolonged stalemate. If India keeps her indefinitely, citing security and legal procedures, it could manage tensions which are still continuing. Diplomatic swap. If India negotiates a fair trial or a commuted sentence with Dhaka in exchange for her extradition. Now, this is something that people are expecting from India. So, in this entire scenario, Sheikh Hasina herself is the wild card. Now, she is a 78-year-old lady and she is defiant. If she boards the plane voluntarily to go back to Bangladesh, okay, she would take the problem out of India's hands. But in case she stays back, she becomes a permanent problem in the Indo-Bangladesh relation. So this is something which is nothing less than the litmus test. Okay. So again, everything comes back to this question: will India send Sheikh Hasina back? Okay. So an expected answer from an Indian side is no, if they can help it. India will try to delay, India would try to hide behind the illegalities. Okay, and India would expect some diplomatic miracle to happen. Now, in diplomacy, sometimes the hardest choice is the one you are not able to make. Okay, so for India, keeping Sheikh Hasina is a risk. Sending her back is a catastrophe, nothing less than a catastrophe. So, for now, India would try to do what suits best for them. India would try to wait and watch over the further developments, because in South Asia, today's refugee is often tomorrow's kingmaker, and no one would want to bet against the queen just yet. So we must understand, even though the Bangladeshi prime minister or the official claims from the Bangladeshi side, they say that she would have to undergo a fair trial. Okay, and they also say that after her appeal, the decisions might be overturned, but decisions might be upheld. So ultimately, it is not about Sheikh Hasina's fate in the hands of Tariq Rahman, or Sheikh Hasina's fate in the hands of an Islamist regime that is being dominated by China as well as Pakistan. But it is entirely how India could leverage this situation in their own favor. So do let me know what all are your views on this, and also do let me know, should India send her back or not. Along with this, do join me on my Telegram channel, Sharad_StudyIQ. Herein I'll share all annotated PDFs of my session. Along with this, currently I'm going ahead with a smart NCRT series of Indian polity, wherein I'm covering all polity NCRTs from class 6th to class 12th. So if you want to build a strong foundation, do join me in these sessions, and these sessions are conducted daily at 3 p.m. on the same YouTube channel. And do not forget to take advantage of this biggest price drop ever. Okay, so StudyIQ IAS GS Foundation batches are available with as low prices as 7,999. So you just need to use the code SRM Live to subscribe to these courses and start your preparation for UPSC in the smartest manner with the smart model based courses. So this was all from my side today. We'll see you all in the next session. Jai Hind.